Hello and welcome to the very first Forza Horizon 5 Let's Go stream even of 2022. Great start, Charlie. We've got absolutely loads of stuff to go through, so I'm going to stop this scuffed intro and have a look at what's to come. First up, we're going to take a look at the very exciting inaugural Horizon World Cup. It's also a brand new series, so we've got brand new festival playlists to go through for Series 4. Then we've got some new threads and new car horns. Then not one, but 2 showcase remixes. Very excited about that. After that, it's the all-important cars, as well as the great stuff we saw in Forza Monthly just now. There's more, and we're going to be looking at it shortly. Then we'll take a look at the highly requested editable event blueprints, which lets you finish and return to your creations after you've published them. And what would an update be without bug fixes? So we're going to take a look at some of those. And finally, I told you it's a lot, it's the return of the Q&A. So throughout the show, you can ask your questions in chat with a "Hey Tom" right at the beginning of your message, and we'll do our best to get around to them at the end of the show. I did tell you it was packed, so throwing over to the sofa in this gorgeous new studio. Hello, Mike and Kelly. How are you both? But first of all, reactions on the room, I believe. What's it like in here?
Oh, it's great, isn't it? The lighting is amazing.
It's stunning.
So cool. It's been a long time in the making as well. I think people would struggle to believe how long we have been discussing building this space.
Yeah.
Possibly longer than it took us to make Forza Horizon 5.
Was it this one that was making it difficult?
Yeah, it was a challenge to put it together. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. It's like we're at the Horizon Festival right now.
It really does. It's definitely a mood, I think, because this is so colourful in the background. It's such a statement piece of the game that it truly feels like somehow you brought Forza Horizon back to England, but in Leamington Spa.
Exactly.
Just in this one room.
And with these lights as well, it really feels like we're in Mexico.
It really does, yeah. But that's beside the point. How are you both? Are you having a great new year so far? Have you done lots of gaming over your break?
I have. Loads and loads of gaming, loads of Forza. Got to keep ticking off that festival playlist, unlocking all the cars. Sunk loads of time into Halo as well.
Very
absolutely
good.
Loving it.
Yeah, no spoilers on the campaign. I'm about halfway, so I don't want to hear a word of it. But it's brilliant and I'm loving it. What about you, Kelly? What have you been up to?
Same. I'm just midway through so many games. Festival playlist. Been playing every month. Halo, Pokemon. There's too many. There's too many to keep.
There really is, and it's only January, which is really fun. So anyway, we did just tease in Forza Monthly that we've got this Horizon World Cup coming up. I think we do have the experts in the room tell us a bit more about what that is. So whenever you're ready, I cannot wait to know more about it.
Yeah, so obviously all car enthusiasts, I think we all can all share this. We all have a bit of an affinity for a certain country's cars, be that German performance, Italian finesse. I love American cars. I love American muscle. I love that, like the ludicrous power and the aggressive stylings that you get. I'm
going to be Team JDM. Just the beautiful cars. There's so many. Just Mazda, Subaru, Honda. Like I could keep going. There's just too many to name. Skyline, Civics. There's just you could go on forever. Japan is my special.
And the Horizon World Cup is all about that. It's all about showing your love for these countries' cars. So it's not necessarily the country that you're from, but rather that country that you have an affinity for their cars. And yeah, as you're driving them around, you're going to be repping points for those countries. You might be a better place than me to explain exactly how that works.
Yep, so every week, if you go play our championships, playground games, the trial, the car you pick to take to the event counts a point towards the country. So for example, I might go and play a trial in the Honda Civic, and that will count me a point towards Japan.
Okay, cool. Interesting. I think it's pretty clear at this point what teams you're both repping. So I'm going to say right now I want it to be recorded in loving memory of my previous Corsa. I'm going to go for the UK team. I've got to support the home team. You seem to have a big feeling that Japan is the way to go. Is there a reason or a vibe why you think that's going to maybe tip it? I'm trying to start a conflict on the sofa is what I'm doing here. So why is Team Japan going to win?
I think it's just the beauty of the cars and just how many cars they've got that are so great. I think it really takes a special place in people's hearts, like the Supra, the Civic. Like there's just too many cars to not pick them.
I think as well, Kelly's probably got one eye on the fact that our livery editor is absolutely full of anime liveries, which probably means that the community are really big onto Japanese culture. So you might be on something there, Kelly.
Brilliant. Okay, now I think it goes without saying that a World Cup, there's always a winner at the end. So how does that translate to Forza Horizon 5? What's the winner at the end of the day?
So every week we'll release, so you got to watch our socials. We'll keep you updated on who's winning, where you are in the standings. And at the end of the month, we'll send you a nice little surprise based on the winner.
Brilliant. Okay, looking forward to seeing what that is as we roll through. And I think this is a really good point to jump in to the festival playlist. We've got 4 more weeks coming up of exciting bits and pieces to do, as well as more cars to unlock. So let's dive in. What have we got coming up first?
All right. Well, there's the Whirling Sunshine. So jump into the playlist. Am I not in the right season? I am not. Dip the feed a second.
What season should we be starting with?
So that's we'll go to Series 4, which is the Horizon World Cup Series.
Yeah.
Big part is the championships you'll play towards the competition.
So are there any new changes that we can see on the festival playlist? Obviously, we've been doing this for a while now since it's come out. Is there anything that you found actually fans are maybe gravitating towards and changes that you're seeing and making sure you're putting in there for them?
So we've got a mix and match of content. We like to kind of switch things up. So some weeks you might not find playground games. Some weeks you might find one every week. We've got it up now for you to see. We've got some great cars, some great events, the showcase remixes coming up later.
Yeah, so those changes all in support of that World Cup theme. So the World Cup is all about racing and getting out there and driving your favourite cars. So we've slanted it more towards racing than maybe PR stunts and stuff like that for this series. Worth a call out, the Neo EP9, which is a new to Forza Chinese supercar.
Nice.
25 points in summer. We did drive that around in the Forza Monthly earlier on, so go check that out if you didn't watch it. I think, as we're talking about the World Cup, I think it's worth having a look at the championships here. Is there one to look at here or no?
So each week you can get, I think a good thing to point out would be that as we look through the weeks, you can earn cars each week towards the next week.
Okay.
So if you play all the content in summer, you'll get all the cars you need to play next week too.
Yeah, so, and if we look at the eligible cars, you can see it. So it has a car from each of the competing countries in the World Cup.
Oh, I see. Is there a way of organising that? I'm not great when it comes to manufacturers,
Yes.
I'll be the first to admit. So for any folks who maybe want to represent a specific country but don't know how, it looks like you do have that option available.
Yeah, so you may reasonably not actually know what country these car manufacturers come from, so you can just sort by country and it'll helpfully categorise them for you. So Kelly would probably pick the Supra, I'm assuming. I would naturally pick the Mustang.
And how would you rate my chances with that?
It's pretty fast, the KTM,
Yeah?
actually. It's like, what does it weigh, like 7 kilograms or something? So I think it's a little 2-litre engine, but it's in that super light category, so it weighs hardly anything at all. So yeah, much smaller engine than the Mustang, but actually probably a bit quicker than it, to be honest, around the bends at least.
Okay.
But yeah, so you pick one of these cars, you're repping that country, you earn points for that country when you do it, right?
And these work towards points, you say. So the more, is it a winning or just selecting that gets these points together?
Just playing the content. So finishing off the championship, finishing off the trial, and the cars you love just counts towards that country.
Interesting. Okay, I want everyone in chat at this point, if you haven't already begun, please make sure you tell us what country you're going to be repping. I want to see if we could do our own little sort of taste or a survey in chat of what flavour we're going for at the moment. Is there anything else in the festival playlist you want to call out?
I think you kind of touched on it, but it's worth just mentioning again. The rewards, as you can see, are all cars. There's more cars in this series than we've ever given away before, and each of them are from those countries that are competing in the World Cup. So it gives you an opportunity to earn a lot of cars, which you then maybe able to use in future seasons to rep. I think we should also call out the new cars as well. So the Whirling Sunshine, the absolute hero of this particular update, 25 points in autumn. The new Porsche 911 GT3 RS4 is 25 points in winter, and the MG MG3 25 points in spring.
So good they named it twice, huh?
They did, yeah.
I don't know how naming conventions work, but...
It's been a bit of a staple of MG for 50 years. So under new management, but sticking to their very confusing naming conventions.
Big fans, love it. Wonderful. So that's everything we've got in the festival playlist we're going to run through, but that's not the only new thing, particularly when it comes to the World Cup. We also have other ways of supporting your country. England are going to win. And those are in the forms of clothes and car horns. So can we check out some of those? But also, how's the best way to access them? Do we need to unlock them, etc., etc.?
So for the clothing, they'll be unlocked as you go to the customizer for Series 4. So day one, just jump straight in and pick the race suit that you want to show support for your country. It's a great way to show it on socials, to show it in the post-race, to show everyone who you're supporting.
I think that's going to be the most exciting thing, especially when it comes to like when you're going through the festival playlist and you're pairing up with random people and you're trying to get through the championships. It's that starting lineup, and you'll be able to see everyone's jumpsuits on.
Let's take a look. Yeah, so these are
Oh, look at that!
free for everyone. Pretty snazzy. I think the Italian one, although I was all Team USA before, I think the Italian one is
That's got some
especially
drip.
cool
I do like
looking.
that one.
Yeah. USA looking good, looking like you might be about to go and jump over the Grand Canyon on a motorcycle.
A classic United Kingdom.
Very
I love
classic,
it.
very
Yes,
classical.
very, very good. Yeah, those are great. Big fan. And you say that those are just unlocked automatically. You don't need to try and earn them.
Yeah.
Lovely. Do these go towards points, or is it just stylish?
No, just stylish.
Just
yes.
stylish. Good to know, good to know. So we also had new car horns as well. I think there's a few, but were there any you wanted to spotlight or maybe give us a little taster of today?
So for Series 4, we really wanted to add some cool sounds that would work really well in Event Lab. So these horns you'll find if you go to Event Lab, and you can add them with rules if you pass through checkpoints, for example. But we've got applause, breaking shatter, which would be great for the bullseye target, tape rewind, and I think we've also got halo, which is a nice little one
Oh,
to check
are we
out.
gonna listen to the Halo one, or should we let folks find that for themselves?
What do you think, Mike?
I'd have to go and scroll through the entire musical list.
So therefore, you can find it yourself, folks. Nice little teaser for you. There's a Halo shield recharge there if you want to hear that. Anyway,
That was last update, wasn't it?
Yeah.
very nice. Okay, looking forward to all of those. But we have more new content as well, and these are some actual activities you can do. We saw a couple of them in the festival playlist. There's 2 showcase remixes. Kelly, what are they? Because they're quite important to the World Cup, aren't they?
Yep. So this was a great series to bring back showcase remixes. It's the first ones you'll have to play in Forza Horizon 5. We've got a nice theme around the Horizon World Cup. So you've got the opening ceremony in summer, and then in spring you've got the closing ceremony that just gives a nice little wrap around the kind of theme that we've got going on.
Lovely. And this is a remix of the original Buggy and the Beast showcase. So what's slightly tweaked? I mean, obviously we'll see this in a moment, but what was so special about fixing this one for the opening ceremony?
So the biggest change you'll see, which is just like a great change, is the car change. So it just makes the whole experience feel different. It's like a new light to the gameplay. But there's also some little subtle differences, like the music, the weather. The music is great because we've matched them quite nicely to the content. So this one talks
The
about
original
summer.
song was a banger for the showcase. I think I redid that original showcase so many times because the song fit perfectly. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing the music on this one as well. Here we go.
So originally the showcase was in the Ultra form, but this time you've got the kind of Maverick to try it out in. So a little bit smaller. I like the contrast of how small it is compared to the...
Yeah,
the
somehow
Monster
that sort of difference is even bigger, isn't it?
It's,
Do look like you could get squished if you went underneath it.
the difference in tyre size there.
Never tire of that. I mean, this is probably a question I could have asked you 6 months ago when it was like in the build-up to the game. I don't know if you have an answer for it now. I'm very much ad-libbing here, but where was the original idea to do those slow-mo jumps in these showcases? Because they add so much pizzazz. It's genuinely one of my favourite features. Where did that come from?
That is a great
I've
question,
really caught you off
Charlie.
guard there. I'm just spitballing.
Level design, cinematic, brilliant.
It came in Horizon 3.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure we repurposed something else to do it. I actually think if I could actually remember properly, I think there's actually a cool dev story here about how we repurposed a bit of tech from something else to do that.
Well, shout out to whoever did it. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
just-
Sorry, you've
especially
caught
when
me
you do it.
flat-footed there,
I know,
Charlie.
I should have
Maybe ask that
prepared
question
it
again in a
time.
few months.
Okay,
Like,
in a
we'll
month's
pretend it's the
time I'll
first
come
time.
back. I'll ask again and we'll make sure we get the proper name credited on stream. But yeah, there's something about it that when you do these remixes, particularly for the first time or when you come back and do them again, and there's that slow-mo on epic. Oh, it's brilliant.
Right, so I've got to jump seasons now, haven't I, to do the other one?
Yeah.
All right, okay,
Yes.
so we can dip the feed a little bit while
And I
I'm messing around with some
distracted
debug
you
settings.
during that, so my
Well,
apologies.
I think it's supposed to be a little bit harder, isn't it? That is a tougher buggy than the
Yeah.
Bronco Ultra form.
Lovely. So we're going to set up the next showcase remix, and Kelly, you can tell us just what that is and how else it plays into this World Cup.
Yes, so the showcase remix we're looking at next is the closing ceremony. And this one's my favorite. We've changed the time of day here, so it's nighttime. You go through the temples that are all lit up. You go past the street scene festival and through Guanajuato. So it's just great visuals with the lighting. It's really pretty.
So does changing the lighting and setting of these events do much, or is it mostly just for the aesthetics?
Well, I think like the teams have done such a good job of making the weather and time of day look great across the whole map, in any area, in any car. So I think it just gives us a chance to show off more places with kind of different visuals.
So it gives it a new character, doesn't it? It's sort of, for lack of a better word, it gives you like 4 different versions of the map every season, really, because the character it's especially when you come up against a storm, the game is then playing against you in a respect. You've got to learn how to drive through a storm. It's one of my favourite things about it, the seasons, as well as the slow jumps, and I'm sure something else I'll remember in a minute that I also love. Okay, so this is, the closing ceremony, you said?
Yeah.
Here we go. It'd be exciting to do this one, sort of when you've spent 4 weeks working on a car and really representing your country. And it's probably going to be quite an emotional fanfare.
Yeah, so we didn't want to seem biased towards any particular country, so we've used the Mexican car for this.
As host nation of the Horizon World Cup.
Exactly. Yeah.
It only feels right, yeah.
Give Mexico some love.
Interesting car as well. That plane looks so ominous at night. Oh, look at the colours.
Yeah, so all the pyramids and stuff have these uplighters on at night, which is there in free roam if you go and explore it, but it's a particular little pocket in the world which you may never actually go there during night. And I think that's one of the great things about this remix is that you see quite a lot of those little bits of detail that you otherwise might miss.
Yeah, so if you keep your eyes out up on the right here, we've got the street scene with all the neon lights. That looks great.
Wow. That's gorgeous. What great use of colour. That looks so nice. Is there any particular reason you decided to do this showcase event over any of the other ones for the closing ceremony?
Yeah, I think it gives a nice, I feel like the Buggy and the Beast is huge, and it's got a huge energy to bring you into the World Cup, and then this is kind of nice, settling down, things are coming to an end of the day and cycle.
The after party.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. You know it's going to get real hectic soon as well. Other people are going to come in for the party. There they are. Turns like me then, Mike. The walls are there for this intent reason, right?
Yeah. I've done this showcase so many times in the other car. That is a lot of muscle memory.
You need to unpick, yeah?
Yeah, because that Hoonigan one that you do this in default has amazing brakes. They're probably some of the most ridiculous brakes in the game. This car just has normal brakes, so you have to brake a little bit earlier.
Was there a reason why, aside from the Mexican connection, you went for this car over any other ones?
I felt like we wanted to get Mexico in there for to give it a chance.
Sure.
To kind of show itself off in the Horizon World Cup.
You're right though, totally changing it at night. Those bikes, I don't know, just sort of seeing them in the headlights it's very strange, but it's great as well. It's just completely different, isn't it? This is the weirdest part of these shows, is I just want to watch and be like, I'll see if I can get some tips from Mike as he's playing and see if I can drive really well and win everything, and I just go completely silent. Just end up watching, which is the complete opposite of what you're supposed to do when sat here.
I think this section looks great as well with the time of day, sun starting to rise.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially this part.
We're going to be super tense. You're going to win.
This is going to be close.
Aren't they always?
Especially on these streams. Very good. Well, while we'll wait for the results, how do you feel that went? Do you think you've represented your team well, America?
Team Mexico?
Yeah.
I think so. Well, I won, so I'll take that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Well done.
It was close.
It was close.
Very close.
That was very
Wouldn't
close.
you know, a Horizon Showcase was a close finish.
Brilliant. Well, I'm really excited to dive into all this content, and fingers crossed, help everyone in chat who naturally, like me, are going to go for the UK, aren't you guys? Figure out how we're going to go over the next month. We'll obviously check back in a month's time and keep your eyes on socials to find the results. But thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us. We're going to swap you out now for another fantastic member of the team. We've got Dave coming in. Are you ready, Dave? Yeah? Come on in, my darling. Thanks again, Kelly.
Thank you.
Hello, Dave.
Hello.
Welcome to the studio. What do you think?
This is very, very cool, isn't it?
It's not bad, huh?
I absolutely love it.
How does it compare to sitting inside a peel in a box for an hour and a half?
So sitting inside the peel, I'm not
I
gonna
was
lie,
gonna
was
ask.
like one of the highlights of my career. But this is much more roomier. Which
Just
I like.
right, yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely. There was not much space in that Peel 350, but it was very cool. But this is definitely up there.
Yeah,
I love
definitely
it.
adds a great vibe to us all sat here looking at the screen, looking at what is essentially what's behind us as well. It's
Exactly.
a nice, complete picture. I feel like I should ask you though, new year, new Dave, are you having a good one so far? What have you been up to?
I am indeed, yeah. Just been playing through my Xbox Game Pass backlog. So
Aren't we
yeah,
all?
aren't we all? Yeah, the backlog just gets bigger and bigger. So obviously playing Forza Horizon 5, loving that. But Psychonauts 2, great game.
Very
yeah,
good,
absolutely
yeah.
love that game. I'm a bit of a fan of platformers, and
It's a long time coming for that one as well.
Oh, it's
I
so
think it was
good.
16 years in the making, that, so...
it's such a clever game. So go and play that as well as Forza Horizon 5.
Brilliant. And while you're downloading it and you've got us on in the background while I assume you're also playing yourself, before we get on to the next section, just a reminder that we do have a Q&A portion coming up right at the end of the stream. If you do want to ask any questions in chat for us to answer, make sure your message starts with, "Hey Tom," and then we'll try and save the best ones and get round to them later. But now we are going to go on to what I believe is the nerdiest part of the stream, and I do mean that in the best way, because people nerding out on cars is fantastic. We're now going to have a look at some of the amazing cars that you went through earlier on Forza Monthly. So where should we start? Who's going to go first?
So I think we should start with the Volkswagen Golf. I mean,
Love it.
Okay,
Great
okay.
choice.
yeah. So
We actually didn't look at these ones on.
Oh, did
on
we
the monthly.
not?
No,
Oh,
no.
did we
These
not?
ones are fresh. We looked at the
been misled.
Chinese ones on the monthly. These ones
Ah, there we go.
are yet to be seen.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this is the Volkswagen Golf R. It is the Mark 7.5, which is kind of a bit of a facelift from the Mark 7. 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds, 296 brake horsepower, and that's all powered by a 2-litre inline 4. Does a top speed by default around 155 miles per hour. Like I said, it's a bit of a facelift from the other models. Really nice interior trim we've got here. Looks very, very classy. You've got your quad exhaust as well. If you take a look at those at the back, they look fantastic. The key thing about this car as well is that it's all-wheel drive, and that's kind of what sets it apart from the GTI. But another thing that we love about this car is there's a few people in the PG office that actually have this car.
Love it.
Celebrity drivers include Playground Games
The feature who made the
principal game
game.
designer Ben Thaker-Fell.
Baker Fowl. Yeah, who also used to have the Ford Puma, which we also added.
Yeah, it's
So-
almost as if he has the ability to influence what cars appear in the game.
Yeah.
There's some persuasion there, huh?
So I'm in a Citroen C1, so maybe I'll try and put in a good word.
You should figure out who they're emailing about to get the cars in.
It's that easy. Yeah, so and that's just, people love this car. It's a car that a lot of people own here in the UK. You see this on most
It's
roads.
very
driving
familiar,
around. It's
isn't
very,
it?
very familiar. And there's something really fun about taking this to Horizon and kind of just throwing off danger signs, throwing it off top of volcanoes, and having a lot of fun with
Having
it.
a massive tune with
For
it as
danger
well.
sign. For danger sign.
As if we planned it. There's one right here. So yeah, this is what I love about Horizon. Just taking cars you love and having lots of fun with them.
Doing that with it.
Bit of a deeper rear bumper as well. We've got the quad exhausts. It just looks very, very classy and yeah, awesome car.
All right.
And you can get this, it's in the Car Pass, this series as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a Car Pass owner, this will be yours in this series.
Cool. All right.
Where are we going next, Mike? What have you got for us today?
We're going to look at one of these new Porsches. let's start with the Sport Classic. So this is the 2010 911 Sport Classic. This is it's one of the limited edition 911s. Porsche like to release every now and again. They'll produce and release a very limited run, almost collector's edition of the 911 and the Cayman as well. They do it for their other lines. They're basically sold only to Porsche's like preferred customers. So people have already purchased
their favourites.
Yeah, their favourite customers who've purchased many Porsches in the past.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think you have to work quite hard to get on that Porsche preferred customers list. So Porsche, if you're watching, bump me up that queue. It's a really gorgeous car. It's got that.
Really.
It's harking back to some of the older like 70s Porsches with that like duck's tail spoiler at the back. Inside, it's just like chocolate leather all over and super luxurious. Like really like the. You can't really feel it in game, but
I like the respect of you having gloves on in it as well.
Yeah.
in my USA
Exactly.
jumpsuit.
Yeah, I absolutely love the leather. There's so much of it. Like when you were panning the camera around there, you just got like this kind of brown luxury leather just across the interior. It's really good. And
So this one's built to be super luxurious. Still makes about 400 brake horsepower. Super fast, super quick. It's a 911. Yeah, looks fantastic and is absolutely driving in the lap of luxury while you're in it.
it is exactly.
Stunning. So, Dave, I believe you've got our next car.
I do, yeah, let's jump into it. So another car that will be coming to Game Pass this series is the Mazda 323 GTR.
Should be a favourite, shouldn't I?
Did you give up on the alphabet?
Oh, I remember that favourite editor, so it's good to see this one.
Yeah, so this is the 1992 Mazda 323. This is the kind of familiar model, but in Europe we call it the 323. The GTR, which is this one, is actually Japanese only, and it's pretty rare. So 2,500 of these were made, but obviously it's Japanese only, so they're quite hard to come by. 1.8 turbo, all-wheel drive, 210 brake horsepower, so it's got a bit of weight to it. 0-60 in 7.2 seconds. What's really cool about this car is that it's actually, in real life, speed limited to 180 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
But there was like a screw in the speedo that you could take out, and then the limiter just didn't exist.
A literal screw.
Yeah, a literal screw. So yeah, you could kind of mod it just by taking a screw out, which I think is
But it's like the beginner's guide, really.
Yeah.
Just take the screw out, done.
Yeah.
Why was it limited?
I think it was Japanese regulation with the cars that they had. So
It's the easiest and quickest loophole I've ever heard to get around something.
You know the guy at the dealer as well. It's just like, hey, by the way,
Just take the screw out.
we can't sell it to you with that out, but screw that.
I know, it's brilliant. So I think the car we have probably has not got the speed limiter on in Horizon. We were talking like it's probably too expensive to kind of model in taking the screw out in Forza Vista, so you have to just imagine that you're doing that. But yeah, really cool car.
It's really interesting styling for a Mazda, isn't it? It kind of looks like a 80s Lancia.
It does. It really does. Kind of spoiler and like a huge rear window at the back there as well. No, it's really cool.
Cool.
Beautiful. Last car then.
Next
Over
up,
to
let's
you
have
then,
a
Mike.
look.
What have we got?
Another Porsche 911.
Another. You're really trying to get on that list, aren't you?
I really am. Like, this isn't a joke. This is another car that you need to be on the Porsche preferred customers list in order to purchase.
If you're listening, Porsche,
Just
if you
click
just
this
so you
part and just email it to someone at Porsche, and you've done what you intended for this stream. All right?
So in both cases, they're produced in really limited numbers. In the previous one, it's because they want it to be really exclusive and luxurious, and I think it was 250 that one. This one is a little bit more. Was it 600?
Around 600.
Around
yeah.
600. According to Porsche, that is because the parts for it were particularly limited, and so that was the maximum they could produce.
Okay.
I think it might also be because they wanted to be really exclusive, but similar to the previous one, they kind of pre-select the customers for them, so they don't even really go on the market. They just sell out straight away, and they pick their biggest Porsche fans and just sell them directly to them.
Yeah, I imagine Porsche fans wouldn't then want to put them on the market. I'm sure you would probably get a pretty decent amount of money for it, but also that's your super secret special car, so it's an interesting way of doing it. I genuinely had no idea they did that.
So whereas the previous one was all about luxury and like harking back to Porsche's history, this one's all about track performance.
Okay.
Track performance, that is road legal, I should say. So,
Sure.
so you can see it's got really sporty stylings, really nice wide wheel arches, cool spoiler. Inside, they've done everything they can to reduce weight, including, I can't really see, let me turn around so you can see the light on it. They've swapped out the handle on the door there to open it for a little bit of fabric.
Is that little red thing?
A little bit of
Yeah,
red
it is.
fabric.
Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Save yourself about 30 grams.
Yeah.
It's like a different version of a go faster stripe on a car. Just take the handles out and it'll go faster.
There's no radio or aircon either, so just to try and take the weight out as much as possible. So it would be boiling in there, especially where you're at the moment.
What a fascinating choice.
In Porsche stylings, though, they still keep that little clock there in the middle of the dash, don't
Oh,
they?
yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
That'll weigh more than the door handles.
Yeah.
I love that someone had that conversation somewhere. How can we reduce the rate? Door handles.
Because
That
they'll
was
have said the
one.
clock, and they go, "Oh no, we always put the clock there." That's kind of like one of the things, isn't it? And it's like, you've got to have that. It wouldn't really be a 911.
Amazing. And how are we gonna get this car then during the next season?
Do you know, Dave?
Looks over to notes.
Yes, notes.
It's in the playlist.
It's in the playlist.
It's in the
It's in the playlist. There we go.
Where are you? There you go. There you go.
It's in the playlist. So one,
25 points in winter.
There we go.
It's
Thank
called
you,
Kelly
notes.
Notes.
sorry, there are notes on the right-hand side here. I promise. I did not mean like that. One of them's in car pass, one of them's festival playlist, and I'm afraid I got them mixed up in my head. So
There we go. We
Festival
got there in the
playlist, yeah, smooth.
Perfect. And as you mentioned, we did see some very lovely cars in Forza Monthly that had a Chinese theme here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to revisit any of the classics or show them again in case anyone missed it, but there you're also adding a simplified Chinese voiceover as well.
Yes. Dave, do you want to jump into one of those Chinese cars and drive around? And yes, actually, there is a little bit of a theme to this update in kind of celebration of the Chinese Lunar New Year. We've added some cars by Chinese manufacturers for the first time. Forza has never had Chinese cars in it before, and some of them are just really fun, full of charm, and some of them are really high performance as well. So there's a really nice mix there. And for the first time in Forza, we have added Chinese simplified VO. So you can now have Chinese language VO in the game, which we've never had before. VO is voiceover there, I should say.
Industry term.
Industry term. So yeah, I think that's from tomorrow. You can get that update, isn't it? So yeah, if you're playing in China, if you happen to be watching in China, hi. And from tomorrow, you'll be able to play the game and have all the characters speak to you in simplified Chinese.
Amazing. I love
as well.
that. Look at this as well. Wow.
Straight.
Not that bit.
And not that bit. My driving is it's not great, but there's a danger sign that I want to take this on.
It's actually not that dangerous in this car, just because you're going to hit the danger sign at about 20 miles an hour.
Oh, is this a particularly slow one, is it? Is it as slow as you'd expect? Oh, God.
Am I going to make it over? Let's find
You're
out.
just going to roll over the top of the
I know,
plane.
I'm just...
Yeah, this car is going to become an absolute hit with the community there, and I think people are going to have so much
Most
fun with this.
octane stunt we've ever done on this show, that was.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
love
so
it.
much, Dave.
No problem at all.
I'll tell you what you can do for us to make up for that performance is you can tell us about a very exciting new feature that is coming up that I know loads and loads of players have been asking for, and that is the editable route blueprint.
Yes.
Say that slowly. You've really named it a certain way. It's quite difficult, but it's a great feature, so tell us all about it.
Editable route blueprints. Yes, so this is something we know loads of you have been asking for. It's something we've been wanting to do as well. We're so excited to say that now, when you publish your own event blueprints, you publish your route, you can now go back and edit it and make changes to it after you published it. Something we saw that people were making incredible stuff, but you have to do it in one go. It's quite taxing. You know, if you lose power or something goes wrong, you've lost all that. And
Life happens, right?
You know, life happens.
Or just a checkpoint slightly misaligned, and then your event's kind of not what you wanted it to be.
Exactly. Sure. You can see here, Mike's just making it now as we're talking, but you can go back into the route that you've made, and you can change not only the blue line, but you can also change all the props that you put into your event as well. So if you've made a maze or some kind of really cool racification that might be slightly out, you can now go back and edit it to your heart's content, which is something that we think is going to benefit the creators, but also benefit the people that play the game as well. It's something I do is I jump in and I'll sort of tweak for 30 minutes, and then I'll come back and save it, and then do the next and the next day. And over time, you can build
pace
something.
yourself with it, yeah.
Exactly.
Can you have more than one project on a go at a time?
You can indeed, yes. So, Mike, here you've got this on the button bar. This is a route that I think is this the one you've just made.
This is one I just made, but I forgot a key element of every route that
that we make on these
the
streams.
show.
Yes. So you can see here, edit, save route. You press that button, you jump back in the car. And you might be familiar with this flow from Forza Horizon 4. You can sort of flip between your checkpoints and you can redraw your racing route, but you can also jump straight into Blueprint Builder. Yes, Mike, you missed probably the most important thing.
Furious you've done that.
But we can fix it now.
So we're in, and I could edit the checkpoints. People, as you say, will be familiar with that. But I can also enter Blueprint Builder. I can fly around, and I can edit, add, delete, move anything I want.
So let's fix this egregious mistake, shall we?
Sorry, everyone.
There we go. Thank you very much.
This is the best thing in our game.
It's the boy.
There we go.
And I love
good boy,
him.
good boy, good boy.
You can
Sorry, we left you out. All right, and then.
And that's it. It looks great. It's perfect. I give this a thumbs up.
So a ramp into the dinosaur.
Ramp into the dinosaur. Why not?
Yeah, love it.
And then exit builder.
And there you go.
And there you go.
Can we see you do it now? I don't think it'll take too long.
So you can widen checkpoints as well.
Finish editing.
And then you can overwrite.
Yeah, so you can overwrite it or create it as a new route. So you can have variants of your existing routes if you wanted to
that's
make,
cool.
make copies of
Yes.
variants and just create new ones. Yeah, you can just jump into them. Your entire history of all the routes you ever made are available. Even the ones you've made before this update, you can now go back and edit them.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so
and it doesn't affect like ratings and stuff like that they've already got.
the old one would still exist. They'd
Yep.
previously published it and uploaded it,
Yep.
but they can use that to create a new one and upload it.
Brilliant.
So,
Okay, cool. Sounds great.
So if there's anything you've created recently that you wish you could go back and tweak, you can go and do that. And for me, we've just been so blown away by the things people are creating on Event Lab.
Goodness,
It's like
yeah.
the way I play the game is I launch, go on Event Lab, what's trending today, and there's usually some mad route that goes into the
Yes.
sky with loads of really fun stunts.
It's a mad contraption built with rules of play.
Yeah. And that's the thing we love about UGC, making things that go beyond what we even thought of. And so this is very much for the creators and the players. We're going to benefit us both. So I am very excited. I hope you're all very excited for this as well.
And now we get to do
We'll
our
be playing
perfected race.
I don't think I'm going to win it. I think I give myself enough room to win it.
Work of art.
So obviously we hope you make things that are better than this. But you get the point.
I love it. Brilliant. Thank you so much for adding that one. And now we come on to, I really like this feature of the stream when we do this. And this is when we're going to go through some of the bug fixes that you guys have been working on. We're going to run through some of the most important ones, some of our favourite ones that have been addressed. But there is going to be a full list I'll tell you about very shortly. But Mike, what have we got on the bug fix list this month?
Look, it's a long list. I had to get my notes up.
No worries.
So we've got a bunch of crash and stability fixes, as well as fixes for the server and stability bandwidth optimization, which should improve the reliability of all of our online game modes.
Amazing.
Keeping that online theme. The online playlist will now prevent friends from appearing on there when they shouldn't, and also the people would appear with the wrong car and wrong player level.
Okay.
So basically all of the information that was on there would sometimes be wrong. And now it should be fixed. The finding a session notification would persist on screen, and we've improved that notification logic so that it doesn't do that anymore, and it should be a lot clearer as you're going through that flow. Also, and this is a big one I think for people in the community, if you lose connection to Horizon Life while you're out in free roam, you'll no longer lose your skill chain. I know that one was a particularly nasty pain point for
I'm
people.
going to blame every time I lose one on that now then, because I was hitting things everywhere.
We've fixed some issues around rumble on wheel input devices on PC, and we've addressed an issue where the handbrake peripherals weren't working consistently, so those people that have been in my mentions for the last 2 months, we got you.
We see you.
I actually
It's
used
done.
that wheel myself as well, so it's kind of I share that pain. Speaking of exploits, we've addressed some AFK farming and wheel spin exploits, as well rebalance some car masteries for certain cars. A point of note on that one, if you previously purchased those car masteries, we kind of refund you the points that you'd spent on them. So you keep whatever it was you bought. So if you'd bought a wheel spin, you've still got that, but you get those points back so you can go and spend them either on the new mastery or on something else. So if you see your number of mastery points available go up, it's because of that.
Nice.
On PC, we've made some improvements to the distant texture and foliage quality when you're running on ultra quality setting, and we fixed a bug that was causing longer load times on PC when frame rate was unlocked. We've also added a new engine audio to the Pagani Zonda, and we've got a bunch of accolade fixes which weren't completing for some players, such as the Stay Frosty and Shopping Spree accolades, and some of the Rivals accolades as well. On Festival Playlist, we've fixed an issue where players' progress on a seasonal championship wasn't being shown as complete if they'd changed their difficulty. So that was where the mode is supposed to auto set your difficulty. You changed it to that difficulty and then it wasn't tracking it, so that's fixed now. I know it's causing a lot of frustration because it wasn't clear at all why it would do that. It's like if you're playing on default settings, it would work. If you'd customized it to try and do the thing it was asking you to do, it didn't work. Very frustrating. Selecting the open challenges on the playlist will now let you jump to open challenges. It's a bit of an easier path to get in there. I know players are waiting on a retroactive fix for some of the bug challenges in earlier series. That's not going to be in Series 4, but I'm pleased to say it's in the final stages of testing, so it should be in our next update. And finally, we've changed the default scaling option for shapes and decals to non-uniform in the livery editor. That sounds super technical if you're not familiar with that, but in the livery editor, when you're changing the size of a decal, we changed it so that it was always conforming. It would always go horizontal and vertical in the same scale. That apparently broke a lot of people's muscle memory from 10 or more years of building liveries in the livery editor, so we've switched it back so that it'll just move in the direction that you're pulling it. This isn't an exhaustive list. This is just a few highlights that we know that some of the people who watch these shows will be waiting for. If you check out our socials, you'll be able to get that full list of all of the changes in this update.
And there you go.
Cool.
Exactly what the man with the Surface said. So now we're going to move on to the community Q&A, where we've got some questions from chat. Where will I find these questions? Are we ready? Do we have some? I'm looking around to the rest of the room here now. There's silence in the room. We're refreshing. Sorry, folks, hold on. It's a live show. This happens. There we go. There they are.
Hey.
Apparently a simple refresh is all we needed. Okay, so the first question comes from Grora. Apologies, I'm going to butcher all these names. VVV1 that says, "Hey Tom, is there any plan to bring out more working convertibles?"
Yes, we will. So we're going to be adding more convertible functionality to some of the cars that are already shipped, and there will be new convertibles coming to the game as well. Yeah.
Brilliant, lovely, precise answer. Next one comes from Alan Endopay12, who says, "Hey Tom, will there be a reshuffle of new cars for the Eliminator, and how often will that happen?"
Yeah, so Eliminator balance is something that's really important, but we just want to make sure we've got a bit more data before we change anything.
Yeah,
so
fair
we're
enough.
gathering loads of data from the way people are playing at the moment, and we'll make changes based off that, yeah.
Brilliant, okay. Love this question, and also the name of the person who asked it. Autumnal Leave says, "Look at how beautiful the night is. Why is it so short?"
That's an interesting question.
Why is the night so short?
It's longer in 5 than it was in 4, isn't it?
Yeah, we've
Maybe
made
it's
it
not long
longer each
enough.
time, yeah.
The people demand more night.
Well, okay, we hear you. I guess we could take away. We could take that away and look at that. Like you say, it's one that we generally push it up because we actually do quite a lot of work to make night look more beautiful every game. And as we saw in the Showcase remix earlier, there's a lot of beautiful stuff that happens
really
at night.
is,
So
yeah.
I do hear that feedback. Yeah.
No, just drive around an event lab, just find something at night and just do it that way. Another interesting question. I also would like to ask this question from T30 Drift, who says, "Yo, Forza, can I have that table?"
We've only just got it.
It's ours, I think you mind. I'm going to have it first. Yeah, I mean, obviously I said there's loads of amazing things about the set that we haven't really spoke about very much, but this statement table is stunning.
It
Is
is
this one
so
of your
cool.
pieces from home that you've brought in? Or?
Do you know what? Chris, regular attendee
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
live streams, Chris Phillips, does have a table exactly like this in his living
Wow,
room.
okay.
Yeah.
They knew a guy then. Gorgeous. And obviously we've got wonderful tank in the background that I don't know what the plan for this is. None of us knew it was going to be here, but it's now this object in the room that all of us, our lizard brains, want to smash.
Yeah,
I don't know if we will or when, but it's there.
I really want to smash it. That's the thing, but we
You were
should
saying
probably...
before how you want to get in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The problem with you wanting to be
I want to
inside
stand up
things.
and like, oh my god, Tom Butcher's been in there the whole time.
But yeah, watch this space. We don't know what's going to go on with this. It'll be a character that might come to fruition at some point. Who knows? The next question comes from AMS Carver, who says, "Hey Tom, have you ever been ratioed on Twitter?" I believe we have an answer from that from Tom himself. It just says never.
Never.
So if anyone would like to ratio Tom, the window is now wide open to do so. Go follow him on Twitter and just say whatever you want under anything he tweets. You have my permission. He's going to hate me for that. Next question comes from W89PL, who says, "Hey Tom, when is the photo mode going to be fixed?" Back to the serious
Yeah,
questions.
W89. I saw you on mentions. Yeah, unfortunately not in this update. Should be in the next update, hopefully.
But we're working on it.
Yeah.
Wonderful, love that. So watch the space for that. Next one comes from Wiener Schnitzel, who says, "Hey Tom, are the treasure chests ever going to be worth more than," I won't use their words, but 50,000 credits? Not really sure anyone would consider that treasure, but you're smashing something and getting money. I think it's treasure, but are there any thoughts on that?
That's an interesting question. I'm going to ask off-cam Kelly, are you going to change the amount of money in the treasure chest?
Can do.
It can do.
Yeah.
There we go. That's some live feedback. Next question comes from Gracious Live, who says, "Hey Tom, when will we get the new generation sports cars? Audi, BMW, Mercedes, new Ferraris, and cars peoples have requested?"
Yeah, so this is it's a complicated answer. We're obviously aware of these requests, and obviously we're big car enthusiasts, and
Yeah.
we want to see these cars in the game. It does just take quite a long time. A car, it takes around, well, it takes more or less a year, right? From
Yeah, it
starting
does.
the conversation with the manufacturer to having the car in the game.
It's all licensing, right? You've got to get the
You've
permission
got
to
to
put it
get
in,
licensing approval. Then we have to get hands-on time with the car. We've got to make sure we have the right engine sound for it. It takes a long time to build out the model to the quality that
It's
we
a
do.
big admin task, I imagine, especially in a car of this, a game, I should say, of this scale where the fidelity of the vehicles is so important. It arguably fundamental to playing the game. You want to get it right. You can't just wake up one day and go, "Oh, I want to put, let's use a Corsa, for example, in," and it's there the next week. It's not quite like that, is it?
Yeah, weirdly, it's even now with the delays in place on purchasing new cars, it is quicker to go and purchase a new car than it is for us to make the change one for the game. But I think all the manufacturers I mentioned, we're fans of cars as well. We know people want these cars. It just takes a little while.
Brilliant. Okay, wonderful. Next question comes from Yo-Yo Annie, who says, "Hey Tom, is there a possibility of having private adventures or private sessions similar to Forza Horizon 4 or a 12-person lobby similar to Forza Horizon 3?
We are working on some updates to Horizon Open. It's not going to be exactly what that person has described there because we're not. It's kind of what we're thinking about what our new thing could be rather than what we've had in previous games.
Sure,
but yeah,
okay.
there will be updates to Horizon Open coming soon. Yeah.
Wonderful, cool. Next question from By Fire Killer says, "Hey Tom, will we see new exclusive cars in the future?"
Of course.
Yeah,
New
always.
cars every update, every 4 weeks, new cars.
Hopefully, the person who asked that question asked it at the beginning of the stream and has since had that question answered, and I'm feeling very, very happy with the new cars they've been given. So fingers crossed that's the one. Next question comes from Pedro Pinto 20. These names get me every time. "Hey Tom, please, 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 I'll add the extra pleases, nerf the Bone Shaker." Now, Tom isn't here to nerf this directly, but do you have any thoughts on that?
Is
Is the Bone Shaker particularly OP?
That's what they say. It's a weird situation where its stats aren't actually that good because everyone thinks it's OP, so everyone drives it. But then a lot of the people aren't actually good enough to win it anyway. It's a thing we're aware of. Yeah,
Okay.
it's an active issue that we're tracking.
Note, nerf car. Wonderful. Top Tier Ramen asks, will there be missing headlights issued? Will the missing headlights issue in Horizon Open be fixed?
Yeah, so it's not going to be fixed in this update, but it should be fixed in the next update. for
Another one
Series
that's
5.
on a post-it
Yes,
somewhere.
yeah. There's just lots of testing time that
Sure.
requires for all of these things.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because like we're releasing Series 4, we're testing Series 5, and we're currently building series beyond that.
Yes.
And so it's like when we look at this, we're like, that's been fixed ages ago, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to work out what series we're in, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, cool. Next question is from Victor GSS, who says, "Hey Tom, nobody's asking, so how are you?" And he's not in the room, so I'm going to assume he was on Forza Monthly. You had a chat with him then. Was he all right? Was he chipper?
He seemed in good spirits, yeah.
Has he had a good New Year?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. He could, honestly, he could be in there. Just, I'm waiting for something to happen at the end of the stream where he just appears. Last question does come from The Real Boy Cat 40, who says, "Hey Tom, are you guys going to add an ASL interpreter?" For anyone wondering, ASL, American Sign Language.
Great question, the real boy Cat 40. Yes, that will be in the Series 5 update for both ASL and BSL.
Brilliant. Love that. And with that entirely wonderful positive note, that is the end of the show, and it's everything we have time for. And it's been just as jam-packed, I believe I told you it was going to be at the start of the stream. So that was season 4, and the content update will be available in the next couple of days. And you can join us all back in this wonderful space in 4 weeks' time, where we're going to be taking a look at Series 5. Are there any final words before we go, folks?
Well, as we looked through the playlist earlier, you might have noticed it's skewed towards racing. There's probably more racing-focused stuff in this playlist than we've had before. Well, let's say you might have some room for some stunts in your life in Series 5.
Okay, how exciting. Well, thank you very much for watching, everyone. We'll see you in a month's time, 4 weeks. Should we say adios all together like the old days?
Okay.
All right, everyone. Adios.